Hey Internet, this is Gunter with MiniMishaps Games, and we did 30 mini projects in 30 days. Alright, February was another very full month of projects. We had 3 of our largest projects to date, all within I think 10 days of each other, so it's been a crazy filled project month. But I am going to do like I do every month. I'm just going to jump in and I'm going to tell you about the minis that we did. So these first several, I did a bunch of paints for my Dungeon Master for their birthday. My gift for their birthday was I have the big box of random and I let them pick out party favors, as it were. Each picked out a mini. There was a game where everybody traded minis, and these are those that I also said that I would paint after they drew them out of the big box of random. So we've got this druid, and it was a little hard the players got to pick the color schemes, so it was a little hard to differentiate flesh from boot here. So I ended up with a tango tan on the one side on the leg, but that's okay. This one actually jumped in the middle. I was doing them with this one as well. This one was actually painted for a Patreon project, and so that went to the Patreon videos, and that should be coming out anytime for general viewing. Next up, this is probably the one I like best of how they turned out from the big box of random birthday draws. This swamp thing is a metallic, and I think it's Reaper miniature. I think the first one was Bones too. I think that Druid and this swamp thing are from Reaper. And I'm not sure about where this one came from. This one may also be a Bones miniature, but it was the same in that birthday set, and I really liked how this one's color turned out, because they wanted kind of a copper and maroon on the wings and body and stuff. So I think that one turned out pretty good. Next up, we did a project where we used the liquid plastic to fill in 3D print lines on these 3 prints. These are actually 3 miniatures that I made back when the original 3D printer was online, and that was maybe 12 years ago. Next up, this was our brand challenge, and this was kind of a hijinks because the brand that we did in the random generator was State Farm, and the guy we drew out of the big box of random was Grumpy over there, and he's already dressed in the State Farm khakis and red, and so there wasn't anything to do. So we had drawn the donkey out as the Patreon paint along mini, and so we gave the donkey a State Farm insignia blanket instead of, and Grumpy's hat instead of really actually painting the miniature. So I got out easy on that challenge. The next 2 are the last of the birthday prints from the beginning. It's a pair of WizKids tiefling sorcerers, and they're opposite twins. So the red one has ice powers, and I really like how the base turned out, from the basic gray to the crackling ice there. And then the lava one, same thing. I like the base on that one with the blue tiefling. So blue tiefling with fire powers. So those 2 were a lot of fun. The next up is very loudly painted, and that is because it's one that I painted with one of the recorded paintings I did with my 4-year-old. So he gets to pick the color schemes when I'm doing those, and I kind of like the blue colored cat with the teal garb there. Definitely the neon pink makes it findable on the table. Next up, we had the Super Bowl Sunday we used Hero Forge tool to mash up the two different mascots, which was the kind of sport wolf and the pirate that the Buccaneers have. So again, turned out pretty fun, and if you aside from I guess the shoulder pads looking like little duck heads, but it was a fun one to do. Next one, we had a challenge where we were supposed to take a mini, and it was supposed to end up looking like something else besides what it was cast as. So here we have a wizard that, if you squint hard enough, is supposed to look like it's playing baseball, ready to bat or pitch or some combination. This stance is sort of both of those at once. But the striping and the number on the back and the partially painted hood becoming helmet, I think it still captured baseball. So enough, at least certainly, to meet the challenge. Next, we had Valentine's Day. So February was also full of holiday month, and we put a couple of these Valentine's bears into the clear resin wall, so they're immortalized in their Valentine's happiness, or if it's a gelatinous cube, less happiness. But they're a permanent piece of terrain now either way. Next, we had our twin challenge, or who wore it better challenge, and we drew this orc barbarian out, and then the one so then with that challenge you find the one that's closest or least like the first one. So we picked out the dwarf, gave them the same hair color and the same armor color and the same weapon color. Although I think the green added a lot to the orc for detailing and making it look less generic. The dwarf, outside of the blue weapons, looks pretty stock and standard of a dwarf coloration from what you might expect. Alright, next up we had Love Your Animal Day or Animal Appreciation Pet Day or something. And so in the other game where I'm a player, my character has a horceolot, which is half horse and half ocelot. And so we did a 3D mock-up of what that might look like. And there it is. Alright, we're getting into some of my favorite projects that I've maybe ever done. First one is this kitbash squig we did for #SquigDay 2021. And this was one of the first times that I've done a large group collaboration piece like this, where lots of people did squig stuff for Squig Day. And it was so neat. And it was over the course of a couple different projects. So we actually took a couple of legs off of a dinosaur and the tail off of a genie, and then carved the teeth out of chopsticks for Chopsticks Day. And it really just was a neat project all the way around, and so much fun. And probably to date, the favorite eyes of mine. I've painted a lot of derpy miniatures, and this one, the eyes actually kind of look like it's intentional there. Alright, we had a huge success followed by a huge flop. This teal mini was a chemistry challenge, and I had read that, so this was also on Margarita Day, I had read that salt was sometimes used in the dyeing process for clothing or fabric, so we decided to see if that would apply to the plastic as well. It did not. We ended up with what you see here, but all of that teal rinsed off with water, and we were back to a gray mini again. And so that, I think, he took a picture and it's blue, but all around I think that experiment was not one that, unless you really were gonna then seal it or polyurethane or something over the blue, it wasn't sticking to the mini. All right, back to ping-ponging back the other way to one of the more awesome projects. This is the Dragon Wagon, and we had projects that when we repaired and mold casted a new front tire for that wagon, we painted the different parts, we built the assassin perches out for the goblins, We made the harnesses, and then you can see on the bottom there, sort of the top of the skull ball, and it's being pulled by the squig. And the other one is, the other cart is filled with goblins, is being pulled with our pack zebra that was in a long time ago minis feature. So lots of projects and lore. This was a huge hit at D&D, and one of my first kind of larger scale diorama encounter pieces for the D&D players. So tons of fun. Alright, next up for World Bartender Day, we did up Glasha from Glasha's Place in New Anfang, and she's probably the tavern owner that most new players run into in my homebrew universe. And so we went back to Hero Forge and we drew up Glasha, the 3D character there, ready with her frying pan and her stein there. Alright, we're back to some bashing projects. We have the Monster Bash. This is the second Monster Bash. And these first two pieces, this one with the green legs and the next one, were designed by my 4-year-old, and I mainly just ran the glue gun to get all the pieces where he wanted them. So we created this thing out of a dinosaur body and a couple of knight arms. We have a box of broken toys, and so he just went crazy and put the parts together from a bunch of broken toys, and the same with this next one. And this one I really, really like, with the clothespins and the 4 legs on the bottom. It just was crazy and wild, and head, half the time you look at the head, it looks like it's on backwards. But he had so much fun, and I had so much fun, and it really, really was... He saw the Monster Bash idea, and he had these two bashed out in about a day. You know, he just was all over that. You'll see here that mine didn't come for another couple of projects because I was still actively working on it when he was done with his two. So next up, we had our February highlight piece, and this is Grimble Bipp. He is from Hero Forge, and he owns the coffee shop in the New Anfang Academy. So he's kind of like Glasha, where he's one of the primary mission givers. He's also from the same tribe as the Dragon Wagon, but when he was rescued, when they appeared from the sky portal, he was rescued and separated, and decided that he would open this coffee shop as making his life debt come due. So he actually just in-game reunited with the Dragon Wagon goblins, and that was a happy moment in-game there. So, also, really, probably the most detail on a small mini that I've ever done, all the way down to his little tiny golden nose ring. I was really happy with how this one turned out. The face and the washing and the eyebrows and everything just kind of came together, and I really like it a lot. And I tried out some new techniques with mixing metallics with browns and oranges and things for the brown glass effect. Alright, next up we have a fairy Tooth Fairy Day project here, where we cut up some silk flowers and plasticized them in the liquid plastic. And I had previously painted this fairy. She wasn't a fairy before. She's one of the 3. Oh yeah, maybe she was a fairy. Didn't have wings. From Cinderella? No. Sleeping Beauty? Either way, she got a paint, a new set of colors, as well as the pink wings for the Tooth Fairy Day project. And next up, we have probably my favorite project of the month, probably the internet's favorite project of the month from us, and that is our Monster Bash submission, the Oculosaurus. And this was so neat. You can check out this video. But essentially, I had a broken dragon, took a couple legs, and there was this eyeball on a big gumball that we used. We did a mold cast for the Yeti face on top and the wings on the back. Had the dinosaur head from the squig bash. Had the other head on the other side from the 4-year-old's broken toy box. Had the leaves from a flower that was disassembled from the Hobby Lobby 90% off find the clearance day, that project that we did, and just all of it just worked together. It was just a lot of fun, and got to see a lot of neat other artists working hard on those kinds of projects too. So definitely find those and check those out. Alright, next up we had a cartoon character challenge. So this thing started as a MUSCLE men from the 90s, and obviously he is now cosplaying as Donatello from the Ninja Turtles. So not an especially detailed paint, but a fun challenge, and definitely you can tell he is more Ninja Turtle than robot at this stage, so that was really what we were going for. So I did this guy up really fast just because he is going to be the base that I'm going to use for the basing class that I'm going to be taking during the expo this weekend. So I kept it simple, and I may come back and add more in, but this weekend it's going to be all about using this 2" by 1" base. Almost everything I have is a 1" base circle, and I wanted to have a little bit more to play with, as it were, for the basing flocking class this weekend. Alright, and this was another paint with my 4-year-old day, where he had me paint some of the snowball fight kids from the big box of random, and he picked out colors, and it was fun. And then these next two are sort of previews of projects we're going to have in March. So this first one is too big to be in the D&D scale, but I've got a whole set of them like this, and so I've painted them with the gunmetal, and then given them a wash with the teal to kind of look like that iron oxidizing on metal that can turn them kind of that greenish white, and really like how he turned out, and I'm excited to give them bases and flints, and the project is a Hall of Heroes that's going to have these guys be statues, so it's pretty fun. From the too big to the too little, this is the tiniest little guy I've ever painted, and I think he's 16mm maybe. But he is, I'm not going to tell you much about his costume here, but he is going to be part of a Gaslands project, so he is Hot Wheels scale for that game, and just fun. It's just fun. This will be a silly project when it comes. And then last but not least, I got a shaman for my lizard army, and he's got horns. You can't see him there behind the antlers, but kind of a triceratops head, and I did the orange as sort of an homage to the old 90s Ninja Turtles cartoon, so that's why the triceriton kind of motif there. So there you have it. That has been February, and it's been a wild month of projects, so hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you for this kind of video in another month. Thank you so much for watching my video, and if you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe, and you can support us on Patreon or buy me a coffee, and we will see you for the next video. Thanks, Internet.